Okay, Joe. So some of our customers would like to trade with family members or other friends who are in different local vaults accounts. So how do we facilitate that sort of cross account trading?
Okay, so we can do that with the constraint and preference system in trading. So in this case, I have a property where I'm exporting quite a lot in the evening, and I might want to sell that to someone in particular. I can, of course, always sell it on the open market and just see who'll buy it. But if I've um, if I have an arrangement with someone else, or I want to sell it to a family member or something like that, then I might want to do a directed trade. So in this case, I'll sell electricity, make an offer, and I'll just pick a day that we haven't used before. I'll pick the 7th of May. I'll go from, say, 5 p.m. to, let's say, 9 p.m. Calculates that I've got 23 kilowatt hours to sell. And now I choose who I want to sell it to. So I will choose Jitendra. Next. So this offer I'm putting in is just for them. Now this is basically telling me that on the 7th or 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. around nearly 40 cents would be a fair kind of a price. So I'll give him a bit of a discount and sell it for 30. Add that on, that's 100% of the export at that stage. I'll choose next, get a little summary, what's going on, and submit the trade. So now if I return to my dashboard, I can have a look at the 7th. You can see here that the trade is still grey, which means it hasn't matched, which is good because I've only directed it to Jitendra, and he may not have a standing buy order to have matched that trade. So now, flipping to the other side of the trade, this is Jitendra's position for the 7th of May. You can see he's already got some purchases here in the dark orange. And there is some standing buys here, but this one is a little later than I sold. I went to 9 p.m. So he's got some standing here, capped at 10 cents. So that wouldn't have matched with my 30-cent offer anyway. And you can see over here, there's some standing earlier on, again, capped at 10 cents. So if there's a price cap on there, it's not going to match with a high trade. But we can see here, but in that period, there's still plenty of expected consumption that we could cover. So if I were to agree to that trade, I could then go into make a purchase and choose the 7th of May. I don't really have to choose a time period because there's already a time period in the sale. So it's going to be the intersection of those two. I could put it in if I wanted to. I'll choose 100%. Now, when it comes to buying, if I just chose anyone, I would get a match stacked by the lowest sale price first. But in this case, I want to hit this trade first. So I'll put Joe in as the seller. I can leave anyone in for now just to see what happens. But if I were to take out anyone, it would only match with Joe and no one else. But in this case, it will choose to match as much with Joe as possible before going on to the next highest offer. Now you can notice it's also there's a couple that have got in before me. This would have been because they were at different times of the day. I didn't. This would have been at a time where I'm not selling. But in this case, we can see that we've matched a large portion with Joe, and then we're going to some other offers which are actually higher priced. So just to underline that, if I go previous, take out anyone this time, this one should just match with Joe's trade. So I get, and again, so that was the percentage we did before. Means those other trades would have been at other times of the day. So I'll just choose to go ahead with this one. I'll choose next. I won't bother returning it to the market because it's a sort of a one-shot trade. So I'll do nothing and confirm. Finalising the deal. So I've now spent an estimated $2.44 to be confirmed once all the metadata is in and we know what the actuals are. And only a small amount was actually covered, but all with me as the seller. If I now return to the dashboard, have a look at the 7th of May again, we'll see what happened there. Okay, so it's obviously in the mix with some of these other trades. And come down here, we can see small amount was purchased. Maybe there's a bit here. Another way of looking at this is to separate out between the counterparties. Just go to the trade screen, and we can see these trades with me. They're just forming this part of the day. So there was that 0.02 of a kilowatt sold. The price I put in was 30 cents, so this is very slightly different. So that's the locational adjustments happening, so that my 30-cent price looked like 30.09 cents to Jitendra, and that's just essentially covering line losses in the grid from my place to his. If I were going back to the selling site, back to Joe's site, you can see I've still got quite a lot of grey here, and that's because with 8 kilowatts being exported, there was way more being sold than Jitendra required. So we can actually cancel that trade if we want. Go into here, take this trade. If I drill down to the trade, I can see that some was sold to Jitendra. Cancel the order. Won't affect any matched volume, but we'll just free that up so I can sell it to someone else.
Okay, so just to summarise, the process is for the seller to create an offer and identify the target buyer in that offer, and then on the other side, that target buyer needs to go and create a purchase order.
Yes. You need both sides of the trade covered. One thing I'll just mention here, it might look a bit odd that all of this hasn't matched. And now what's no doubt happening here is what we call the scaling effect, where he's already had other purchases with other counterparties. And what's happened here is probably these, we can actually see how long ago that was. Simon is, for example, here. We can see this trade. Okay, so 3rd of March. So this trade was done quite a while ago, 2 months before the delivery date. So what's happened there is a certain amount has matched with this seller, and then over that 2 months, the forecast of what they will generate has decreased, so that expected settlement with that person has been reduced, which is why we see the dark orange not sort of going right to the top here on the 7th. But the match has still been made, so if it turns out when the metadata does come in for the 7th that they actually use more than their forecast, then that orange will increase again. So when we match, it is actually reserving that amount of volume that has been sold and bought between those counterparties. So if we're not expected to consume as much or not expected to deliver as much, the trade will get scaled down so that you have a better view of what's going to settle when the metadata comes in. And this is why I very often recommend trading a short period out, like a day or two ahead and not 2 months ahead, because you get far less of this effect happening when you're trading fairly closely out.